We're live. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Live with Georgia. So happy to be here for another week with all of you. We're going to have some fun tonight. I've got a lot of things planned and also have my timing sort of worked out so that we can fit it all in, but I'm super excited. I've got a little message here which I want to send off. There we go. Happy July 4th, everyone. Hello to everyone who's here. Let me know if you're here by making a comment, and so I'll know who I'm talking to and we can have a conversation. So this is my YouTube live happening every Saturday night. Jennifer, hi, thank you. Jennifer Anderson, social media writer, just incredibly, what else? How else can I, what is your title, Jennifer? How can people get a hold of you? How can they know what you do? I'd really love to let people know that Jennifer's been helping me. Happy 4th. Yay. Independence Day. Independence for everyone day. Independence from our own suffering day. Independence from the need to, from the need to suffer. Sometimes we kind of learn to do things. This is for my own, this is how I'm viewing Independence Day. I'm a displaced Australian in America, celebrating Independence Day, but making it my own. Happy 4th, happy World Independence Day. Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Deb. Thank you so much. That's perfect. We're going to be talking tarot tonight. We're going to be taking $10 for mini readings, one question readings, or we'll see how much we can pack into a reading for each of you. And I'm very excited. Hey, Jenny, happy Freedom Day. Oh, I love that. Yes, independence from the type of what's the opposite of freedom? Feeling enslaved, right? Yeah, freedom for oneself and the ultimate freedom. If I think about freedom, I think about, well, how can I take it as far as I possibly can? How can I take freedom from, doesn't matter what's happening to me in my life, doesn't matter what circumstances are surrounding me, doesn't matter how bad it looks, can I be free inside myself? Can I touch that part of me that's free from all of this? Because that's where I'm going to find peace. And that's the life path that I'm walking. And that's what the tarot helps to instill in me and to remind me. When I'm looking into the cards, I'm actually hoping to tap that source within myself that is completely free from all of the circumstances in my life. And so I'm hoping that tonight, if you're interested in learning how to read the tarot, you've brought your own deck, because we're going to be starting with the Fool, and today we're really going to do it. So hopefully you've got your decks. Here she is. Jennifer says consciousness. Yes, Jennifer Anderson, consciousness biz, development consultant, communications, conscious consultant. Absolutely. Jennifer brings her spirituality to everything that she does. And so if she's helping you put your website together, she's helping you put it together so that you can be in service to the world. Firstly, in service to what it is that you want to achieve for yourself, right, in creating this, whatever it is that you're doing together, but then also how you bring that to the world and how you make that be of service to the world. So I can't recommend working with her highly enough, really. I've surrounded myself with some amazing people recently, and I feel very lucky. Deborah says attachment robs us of true freedom. Absolutely. Attachment, meaning those things that the things that we desire and how we kind of attach. Actually, I'd love, Deborah, for you to tell us what you mean by attachment, because I've got young children and I'm very attached to them, and the idea of letting go, creating freedom, it feels very far away from me. And I know that's something that you've had a good experience with. So I'd love to hear from you about that. Hey, Lorelei, happy Freedom Day. Happy World Freedom Day. Happy 4th. Happy American Independence Day. Happy World Independence Day. Happy Human Independence Day. Happy Freedom from Attachment Day. I love that, Deb. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Deb. So I am going to post. So tonight we're going to take $10 for a reading. If you want a reading, let me know. You can follow these links. I've actually gotten a little bit organized and got the links to the payment for the one question reading. So hopefully these links will turn up. Here we go. That might be too much there. I think I put more than I should have. Hold on. So I'm going to do here. I'm going to chop that. Hold on. Here they go. That's one. And here comes another bit. You're only allowed to put 200 words in at once. So it's highlighting my name, but I think if you click on that, oh yeah, so the links are working. Wonderful. So I've just put in the links that you would need to click on if you wanted to pay $10 for a reading tonight. I'll be using the Rider Smith-Waite tarot deck. Right? This is the deck that I'm using. I'm using the borderless edition, but it also comes in a sort of edition that has the border around it. And basically, this is what it looks like when it's borderless. So you have the picture goes all the way out to the rim. And when it has a border around it, there's a little white border. So this is the deck that I recommend you all buy if you wanted to follow along with me and learn how to read the tarot. I'll be using these kind of exclusively so that we can be consistent with the cards that you're looking at and the ones I'm looking at. And don't worry if you have a different deck that you're sort of looking at while I'm looking at this. You can just let me know what deck you have, or and I can look it up and we can just talk about the similarities, because most decks that are available today are following either the Rider-Waite-Smith illustrations or the Thoth, THOTH, the Thoth deck. And, really there's not that much difference between those either. And the 1 to 10 cards of each suit are illustrated in the Rider-Waite, and in the Thoth deck they're not. They're just plain with the cups or the swords in numbers. So we can talk about that later. So Deb says, each time I would talk to Derek about my children, and Deb Ward is talking about Derek O'Neill. He's a spiritual teacher. You can find out more information about him on DerekO'Neill.com. He would respond, whose children? And without fail, he would ask me that. So whose children are they? It's true. The idea that we are really custodians, or we're looking after them for a short time until they grow into adults and human beings where they can make their own decisions, their own sort of, well, they're making their own decisions very early on. So I suppose it's more that when we're keeping them safe till that point where they can go off and make their own life decisions. So if I think about it from the tarot's point of view, it's when the spirit in a human body becomes the chariot. And the chariot is the card of the major arcana where you have a beautiful, I'm going to see if I can. The chariot is the number 6, I think it is. Let me find it. Has everybody got their chariot there? Maybe we can all look at the chariot together. But the chariot basically says you're ready now in life. You've had all of your lessons, your mother, your father, your uncles, your aunties, your cousins, everybody around you, and all of your teachers and all of the relationships that you've had up until this point in life have taught you enough. And now you can go off and do everything that you need to do in life, make your own decisions, fall down, get up, keep going. And that's basically what we're all doing, right? I think one of us got this card last week. Moving forward, you see the black and the white and the duality. So Deb says, even with small children, we are the custodians, they're protectors. Yeah, the minor children. Yeah, without fail, he would ask and say that to me. Once I detached from my earthly attachments of my children, he quit saying that. So this is Deb Ward talking about Derek, talking to her and discussing with her about attachment and how letting go brings freedom. So you said freedom from attachment. Freedom is freedom from attachment. Let me go back to what you said, Deb, because that was really quite poignant about independence. Independence is freedom from attachment. That was it. Hi, Liz. Anna, hello, welcome. We'll do PayPal when I finish. Is that good? Absolutely. You can click the link anytime. If you let me know that you have a question, then we can, just let me know that you've paid, and I'm meant to have my phone here. Don't worry, I can look it up on my computer, and we'll just go ahead with the reading. So if you want me to pick a card, let me know. Give me a question. And Jenny just sent $10. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Would love a reading. Jenny Deady says, feels like I'm going backwards spiritually, or is that just a necessary dip or getting ready for more progress? What a great question. I'd like to know the answer to that too, Jenny. there may be a few of us who are interested in that. Hi, Linda Mitley. How are you? She says, we're guides for our children. You know, it's so easy to get so attached and to be so involved with everything that they're doing. And it's this constant reminder to come back, you know, and we need our friends to help us, to remind us of this. I need all of you to remind me. Hi, Linda Drost. Hi, how are you? Thank you. Thank you. I'm wearing all my shiny stuff today, all my sparkly stuff. I was putting on a few outfits just before I got on. And, you know, I remembered what Alexandra, my stylist, said in her article about wearing straight black or straight white, that both either black or all black or all white kind of gets lost on camera. And it really does. I sat down in front of the camera and thought, gosh, she's right. It just creates this like very dark black vacuum, which, you know, if you want to create that look, it's fine. But I think, you know, I had to kind of find something with a bit of sparkle in it. All right, Jenny. And Liz will come. Great. Thank you so much. Awesome. So the links are for PayPal, which is great if you have it. If you don't, there's Zelle, I think it's called, or Zelle or Zelle. You use my email, georgiamarantos@gmail.com to send payments through that, or the website. I'd love you all, if you have a credit card, to just use the website one, because if you go through the website, then that helps sort of click things over there. And I think PayPal take a little bit for themselves, and through my website, that doesn't happen. So it just depends on really whatever's comfortable for you. So really, I'm putting these up, and I'm looking into Venmo. I'm looking into a few more services and seeing if I can get YouTube to link me up with some kind of payment that they're doing. I'd love to hear what everyone's done for July 4th. Are you all with your families? Jen, I know you're celebrating with your family. If you had a big barbecue, how has everybody been celebrating today? Okay, Jenny, I'm concentrating. This is for Jenny Deady. I'm concentrating on her question. Fantastic question. She feels like she's going backwards spiritually. Maybe we can ask, is that true? Right? So you feel like you're going backwards spiritually. Is it true? And is it a necessary dip? That's like the next part of that question. And then, or am I getting ready for progress? So we can look, is it a dip or is it progress? And firstly, you're feeling like you're going backwards. What is that? Let's have a look at what is this going backwards spiritually. So I'm going to pick one card for going backwards. And when you start doing your own reading, you'll realize, and I've said this over and over, and I'm hoping it sticks, that you remember it, because it's really important to get the question right in your mind. Even when I'm picking cards for myself, if I'm just picking cards, you know, sort of throwing them out there, card of the day, then I can't be very specific. I have to be very general when I'm reading, even for myself. But if I'm very specific, make it a yes and no, or like a what's happening with this specific thing, then we get, you know, I get a very clear answer sometimes, not always, when I'm reading for myself. But for other people, I can usually be quite objective. So, Jenny, this is about you and your movement spiritually, right? Here you go. This is the card of success. Jenny, whatever you're feeling in terms of what's happening spiritually, it's not actually what's really happening. So you feel like you're going backwards. Let's see if I can get this card to come into focus. There we go. Look at that. This is the Six of Wands. If you ever want to ask a card, or if you ever want to manifest success for yourself, you pull out the Six of Wands. This card, Jenny, says you're doing perfectly fine. So you need to know that your spiritual path, you're on track, that actually if you feel like you're going backwards, it's because it's just a feeling that you're meant to be experiencing, but that it's actually fine, that you are on track. So some reassurance coming from Spirit here about the fact that your spiritual progress is continuing. So let's have a look at why it feels like it's going backwards just quickly, right? So if you and I were having a one-on-one session, I would ask you about why it feels like you're going backwards, right? It's reassuring to know that you're actually on track. Everything's fine. Let's see if we can pull it out. I'm going to keep this guy out. So what's making you feel like you're going backwards? Here she goes. Liz says, we never go backwards, maybe clearing more lessons or going deeper. I have to say that the caliber of people who are on tonight, if we could, I wish we had 100 people here so that all of us collectively en masse with this energy that we're holding and the sacred initiations that we're holding and the energy that sort of generates when we're all coming together, that I can just imagine how that's going out. And in fact, if you don't mind, I'd love us all to join in on this idea and on this sort of thought vibration that together tonight, all of us, we're creating this thought wave of beauty, of freedom from attachment, of, independence, of the spiritual path, that we're never going backwards, that we're succeeding. And it's just going to go out and out and out and out. It's going to affect everyone around us. It's going to affect everyone in this building. It's going to go out into the world, into the city, and everyone can feel this expansion because the caliber of people, and I'm so grateful you're all here, but the caliber of human beings and the level of the amount of spiritual energy flowing through them is so great, and I'm very grateful that you're all here. I just wanted to say that. And Liz, what you just said was perfect. Thank you. So just a card to speak about. I think you've had this one before. So this card, I chose this card and I wanted to speak about why it feels like you're going backwards. So what you're doing is you're actually drawing from within yourself a much stronger part of yourself. If I'm not wrong, we pulled this card last week, didn't we, Jenny? And the sort of strength card is a major arcana card. And when you pull a major arcana card, their influence, it's an archetype. So the energy of this particular archetype tends to hang around for months to years. So you're moving through a period where you're reaching down into parts of yourself that are creating a massive inner strength. And that it often feels like you're doing nothing. It often feels like, maybe sometimes it even feels like you're on a plateau, and maybe that's what you're interpreting as, going backwards. Because when you've had a lot of forward motion, the energy of standing still or not going forward as you were feels like going backwards. But actually what you're doing is you're sort of tapping in. Everything is sort of dropping in and becoming deeper and stronger. And so the energy has gone quiet, but it hasn't gone still or backwards. So here you go. This is the strength card. Here is a woman who's opening this lion's mouth that's submitting to her. So all of those things or issues that you used to think would get the better of you are now at your will. They're submitting to you because you've taken control of your life. You've taken the reins of your life, and you're realizing that you're creating your own life, and that you're now moving forward, creating the life that you want. And it's a very powerful place to be. So let's celebrate Jenny with her strength card. Yay! And for all of us, may we all experience this. Look at the infinity symbol just above her head. As above, so below. This idea that as within, so without, that we're creating, you can work on yourself on the inside and create change there on the outside, or you can work on the outside. Sometimes clearing your whole house and getting rid of clutter can make you feel so much better. But doing the spiritual work and doing a lot of psychological work and doing work on the inside can make things around you change because your vibration changes. You start to pull in different people into your aura. I know Derek O'Neill has talked about this when he's called it your satsang. You will know what's going on inside you because of the people that you attract into your life. Now, this isn't always the case, because sometimes you, as a very powerful healer walking on this planet, may be, as long as you're not. So I think what the indicator is how you're feeling. So if you're walking and your satsang and the people around you happen to be, troubled or have issues, or now if you're not troubled by it, if it doesn't actually affect you in any way, then you know that you're holding true to the vibration of connection with yourself and your inner source, and therefore you're providing some energy and vibration to help others, because they're coming into your vibration to vibrate with you, right? To go higher. And the opposite is, well, if you're being bothered by people around you who have lots of troubles and issues, and that the sort of low vibration is getting on your mind and sort of dragging you down, then you'll know that there's something within you that you need to either look at, or you need to work on raising your vibration, right? Probably both, right? So that you would then say, okay, well, I want to change what I'm attracting, so I'm going to start thinking different thoughts or working on particular issues. But there you go. So that was a bit of a tangent. We've come back. The strength card, Jenny, that's yours. I would pull this out of your tarot deck and stick it up on your fridge and remind yourself how far you've come and how great the path is as you continue moving. And your success card, don't forget, you're doing really well. Yay! For all of us. Lorelei says, been cleaning and reorganizing my room today. It just makes such a difference. Jenny says, yes, strength, reaching for true strength and bringing that up. Decluttering at the moment too. Oh, it's so funny, isn't it? Because I've done a lot of decluttering as well. Deb Ward says, where is she? Oh, Jenny says, check out Derek's Voice America podcast titled Zero to Hero. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. I don't think I ever heard that one. So Derek O'Neill has several podcasts. He's been interviewed many times. Actually, check out his YouTube channel. I have it linked as one of my featured channels on my channel, but you can just look up Derek O'Neill on YouTube. And here she's saying that I called in while in a huge dark night of the soul. So this is Deb Wood saying she was in the dark night of the soul. And in hindsight was chump change compared to what came later. I was crying, and he explained it to me that in feeling like I was going backwards, that I was actually about to make a quantum leap. Okay, that's massive, right? So it's in this this movement forward, then you stop. And then when nothing is happening, you feel like you're going backwards, but actually you're just about to make another huge step forward. Isn't that wonderful? That's so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for that. Beautiful. So Liz, let's come to you. You've got a question. Wonderful. Hey, website. No bother. So let me see. Did I put my website up there? It's georgiamarantos.com. Let's see if we can find it for everyone. There it is. If you plan on getting a reading, so this is something that I wanted to let people know. I do have a disclaimer that kind of says I'm not a doctor. I'm not a sort of, a nurse or a mental health counselor or practitioner. I'm literally just reading the cards for my own learning and my own desire to reach into my own subconscious and look at why things happen in my life and how I can change. And I've met many teachers along the way, and Derek O'Neill is one of them, who has given me tools to be able to help myself whenever I'm feeling like I can't sort of do anything. When I'm feeling anxious or when I'm feeling stressed, or if something isn't working out in the way, or when something isn't manifesting the way that I want it to manifest, there are tools that you can use and teachings that you can look into that the teachings come from the Buddha. They come from the Bhagavad Gita. They come from the Vedas. They come from the Bible. They come from all of the Bibles, from every religion. And they're all the same. And all the teachings really teach, when you think about it, they're all teaching about how to get one's sort of life back into some kind of moral order, whether you're using karma as that or some other kind of moral order. But understanding that you are in control of your actions and you can control your destiny by the things that you think, act, and say. And we're all these are life goals. We're all working on that. So Liz, I'm going to see if I can find your question. We're coming up to you. So Jennifer Anderson's yes and pool. Oh, thank you. So Jennifer's been at the pool. She's been enjoying her July 4th. Wonderful. Yum and fun. I set a recurring event for Live with Georgia in my calendar. Yay! You knew exactly when to say goodbye. Oh, thanks very much. I really appreciate everybody being here. It's a super special day in America. You know, the whole weekend, and some people take a whole week off and go away, and the city's empty. New York City's literally empty. There's like everybody's gone upstate off to their beach houses, and they're celebrating the day as they should. It's wonderful. It's been a really beautiful, warm day. I went out with the children earlier too. Linda Dross says, it's like a slingshot. Sometimes you feel like you're being pulled backwards before you're shot forwards. That's another great analogy, another great way to look at it and think about it. That's fantastic. Thank you. So Liz, let me find your reading here. Let me see. Where are we? Liz, I would like info on my work moving forward. Okay. So, Liz, we're going to pull a card on your work and your career, which is wonderful. So let's do that together now. And Liz Dooley has a wonderful website. It's called AcuAngels. Could you please put the website down for us, Liz, and anybody else who wants to let people know what their website is for their work, because everybody here is an incredibly intuitive, powerful healer and teacher, and everybody needs to meet them. And so please put your websites in. We need to know who you are. So everybody, from Jennifer Anderson, Linda Dross, Linda Mitley, everybody, please let everybody know how to find you. So we got the High Priestess that popped out. Now, if anybody knows Liz Dooley, they know that she is literally the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is the number 2 in the Major Arcana, and she represents the Divine Feminine. She represents Mother Mary. She represents that Divine Feminine that is deeply steeped in unconditional love and brings forth all of this very nurturing, very holding, very curing, very healing divine feminine energy. And you can see her color is blue. And she's also highly fertile. Look at this fertile sort of beautiful fabric that sits behind her, and these are pomegranates, signifying that the female or the divine feminine holds this very fertile energy, and which follows through with number 3, and that's the Empress, right? We talked a little bit about the Empress last week, but not in a very sort of, so there we go. So the High Priestess sits between black and white. She understands duality. She understands both very deeply. So I would say, Liz, that in terms of your work, not only are you highly intuitive, but you have a very deep and trusted understanding of duality. You've lived both in your life, and you have the capacity, I believe, to lead others forward in a very high way, in a sort of masterful way. I feel people who meet you are able to work with you, whether they're with you physically or etherically. And I know that because someone has actually physically told me this, but I see that in your energy, that you can hold space for a lot of people, and that's what she does. In fact, I think it was Piero della Francesca, an Italian painter, who has a very famous painting of the Madonna, where she's holding out her skirt, and underneath are all these people, all of us, sort of wanting to be under the cover of that beautiful dress and cape, where we're being nurtured by her. So this is what you do with your work. I think you need to know that you're going to be very successful, and that you're going to continue doing what you've come here to do with all of your gifts. So Liz is an acupuncturist. She's a sound healer. She's a Reiki reflexologist. I mean, if you go to her website, you'll see everything that she does. And what she does when she sees you is she holds you in that space, right? And the sound vibration, because we are made up 100% of energy, and sound, when you create sound, it creates a vibration, and energy is vibration. Vibration is energy. They're both one and the same thing. So when vibration happens, when sound happens, it creates a change or excitement in the energy, in the particles, in the atoms, and that going through your body creates change and can sort of bring you back into balance. And there's a whole science behind it, and there are people who have I'm sure Liz could lead you to the science, but there's a lot of people. Jennifer Anderson says, true, I love readings with Liz and acupuncture. If you can get one, fantastic. Like no other acupuncture I've ever had, FYI, for your information. So we have to experience Liz's acupuncture. I cannot wait to get back to Ireland to have a session with you. And I'm almost a little bit scared. I'm looking forward to it so much that I'm a little bit scared. Deborah Ward says, the Empress, Mother Mary, who took me to Mother Mary's grotto in Ireland. Very special, powerful day filled with the divine feminine. Sometimes the High Priestess and the Empress cards intertwine, their energy intertwines, because one is the divine feminine that sits in spirit. That's this one. So this is you embodying the spirit of Mother Mary in the physical. The Empress is the one who is and embodies that on earth. And the Empress's job is basically to take whatever the magician and the High Priestess have created through their understanding of all the spiritual knowledge, and the Empress gives birth to it all. She's just she's the physical creator on earth, and then the Emperor is the one that organizes it all. He's like the engineer, the bloke that says, okay, we need a library over here, we need a church over here, we're going to need a bathroom, we need plumbing, all of this stuff. But the women are the ones that the feminine principle is the nurturing, the holding principle, and the intuitive principle, the one connected to the water. I can't get that to here. I think I have to get out of the way. There it is. Can you see that cross in her chest? I was talking with a friend, Stephanie Wild. So Stephanie Wild and Stephanie's a good friend, an Australian. She goes live on her channel on Facebook every morning at 10 a.m. So please follow her, reverendwild.com. She and I were talking about the cross on top of Mother Mary's chest here, how the vertical represents the masculine and the horizontal represents the feminine. And the horizontal is the feminine because it holds space for everything. And that's what we're talking about here. So I think this card validates on a very deep level, Liz, that you can hold space for a lot. And that is really helpful to people who are in turmoil or need help in any possible way. The fact that you can hold space for so much is very, very healing, just in that, holding space for somebody. So congratulations on that. And let's see. Liz Dooley says, I love Mother Mary. Thank you so much. I love this time spent with my family. Fantastic. Absolutely. Linda, yes, I can. Just sent money via PayPal. Thank you so much. Can you pull a card for me and what I need to hear most? Absolutely. So, Liz, I'm just going to pull one more card because that one fell out, and I always like to pay attention to the cards that fall out. This one also fell out, literally just now. So I'm going to keep these cards because I think we've got a bit of a theme going for all of us, and that if we didn't think that we were coming into our own sort of strength and well-being and being able to rely on ourselves in an incredibly powerful way, well, the fact that the strength card just fell out again is validation for all of us. This one here is for the group today. Yay! The 4th of July, yay! I finally got my website up and going, yay! georgiamarantos.com. It's not complete by any means, but it's definitely up and running. And if you, put a blog post up, which is wonderful, talking about all the fun we're having here on YouTube. I'm just having a blast. I love this. I really do. I love the work. I love being with all of you. I love sharing everything that we're sharing. So I'll keep doing this for as long as I can. Liz Dooley says, I love Mother Mary. Yeah, I love her too. Here we go. Let's see what else is here for you. She's very strong in most religions. Like in South America, a lot of the Christian religions really focus on Mother Mary and not on Jesus. Although, of course, there's plenty of Christian worship that worships Jesus alone. But Mother Mary has a huge following, I think almost as much as Jesus Christ and the Christ consciousness. Here we go, Liz. This one's for you. We are one, she says. I think you're going to be working. Okay, you asked about your work. Okay, I think you're going to be working with others. I actually think you're going to be working in a practice and you're going to be having a lot of fun. Not only are you in solo practice doing the things that you do at Creakin, and this to me also signifies Creakin. If anyone has ever been to Creakin Wellness Retreat, it is exploding with abundance right now. You have a look at the gardens and all the flowers are blooming and all the trees are just green and plush and the grass is. So the Creakin Wellness Retreat in Dublin, actually south of Dublin, County Wexford in Ireland. That's where Liz Dooley works and she does her sessions. It's an incredibly beautiful place and I think you're all going to be doing really well. I also think that I keep seeing you doing workshops outside of Creakin. So this is the throat chakra working. The throat chakra, I think, is wanting to be heard. So I have to speak about it because it's coming through. You'll be speaking to a lot more people, to groups. And I really feel that this is coming into your sort of, into your career path. If I was to look at timing around that, I don't think it's anything you have to sort of plan or worry. It's going to happen very intuitively and very organically. So this is, how do you feel about it? Are there any fears that you need to sort of squash before you go on your workshop tours? So I that's one thing to look at. And I think very slowly we're all beating our fears about, getting rid of that big obstacle. That's the fear of success one, right? The fear of standing up and being shot down. The fear of just stand up. And whatever happens, you trust in spirit that's what's meant to happen. And that's trust in trust and faith in faith. That's one of the hardest things all of us have to eventually come to at some point, just to trust and allow everything that's happening to happen as it's happening without wanting to control it or steer it or make it go the way that we want it to go. It's been a big one for me this year. And probably, not just me, I'm thinking that we're still probably in the middle of a pandemic that's spreading across the world. It's been pretty, intense for the first, for the 3 months between March and June. But everybody had to learn that. All the best laid plans went askew. People's businesses have gone awry and so much has gone, really sideways for so many people. And are we not meant to be using this opportunity to go with the flow? Absolutely. So, Liz, this is timing. I'm going to look at when I'm going to do this in 6 monthly. 6 months, you're going to get those workshops going. A year. I actually think within a year you're going to be doing them. So in 6 months, you'll get them going and you may go into sort of areas that are close to your home. So here we go. We're planning your career for you. This is the 6 of Swords. And you can see that all these choppy waters, have gone into calm waters. And as you're moving your boat into calmer waters, you're actually going to start reaping the rewards of that success, right? And in 12 months, this is the card. So when I do timing, I specifically choose a timing date, and then I'll pull a card for it. I'll pull a card. And when I pull the card, what I'm doing is I'm looking for a feeling that it gives me. Does this feel like, yes, this is the right time? Or does it feel like, no, that's not the right time? So I asked, the question was, when will Liz get her workshops out into the greater, the greater society in the greater part of Ireland? And so at 6 months, that was kind of like a no for me, but you're getting ready because there's movement, right? And then here is the Fool, who is, ta-da, this is the card we're going to be studying today, the Fool. Wah, the Fool. Ah. Meet the Fool. Meet the star of the evening. So the Fool is basically saying yes. Yes, absolutely. Within 12 months, you'll be doing these workshops. And I'm not sure, I feel like you'll be doing them in a group, or you'll be taking other people around with you. Or you'll be doing them with other people, or be traveling to places where there are other people. But that's really wonderful. You'll continue the work that you're doing now at Creakin, but you'll also be doing work outside. And that'll probably, it gives you enough time, doesn't it, to kind of beat these fears of ours. I've had to deal with my own throat chakra, woes, looking at all those past experiences we've had where we've stood up for ourselves and spoken only to be shot down. And that's just old energy. very old energy that we don't need to hold on to anymore. Why? Why don't we want to hold on to that anymore? Because we're empowered with the truth. We're empowered with all these incredible teachings, the teachings of the Buddha and the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and the Mahabharata and all these very ancient texts that tell the truth as it is and give us a sort of blueprint and a way to live our life. And, when we read those and put them into practice in our lives, I think we're better for it. It has to be that way. One of the first things I read in the Dhammapada, which is the teachings of the Buddha, is that our thought creates our reality. Now, how many times have we heard that in all of the sort of, it is so common to hear that, but it's so profound for it to be the first thing in the Dhammapada, because it means that it's almost like I spoke and therefore I am. It's almost like there is I and then there is everything. It just feels like it is at the bottom of everything. It is at the beginning, or it's at the birthplace of everything. And that if we can look at our mind and our thoughts, and if we can bring some calm and peace and, control the parts of the mind that we can control, and then allow the other parts and ignore the bits that we don't want, then somehow we come into a sense of calmness, and we let go of a lot of suffering. What was that? That was like a lotus. I was hugging this beautiful pendant, this gorgeous, I'm going to show everybody this beautiful angel that was gifted to me by a very, very good friend. And it just so happens to have all the colors that are in my brand right now. Jennifer says, oh, yeah, right, Liz. So wonderful and so glad you joined. Oh, here we go. There's been discussion and I've missed it. Jennifer says, FYI, for folks learning alongside Georgia with me, I've got my deck and books out and taking notes while she reads. Yay! Because I'm awesome and you're awesome too. We're all awesome. We're just loving up on each other. Why not? Why not? Why not start from the point of enjoying ourselves? A very powerful teaching came from Terry Merlis, a good friend of ours who left her body a couple of years ago. She taught me something. This was a passage that came out of a Get a Grip Consciousness book by Derek O'Neill. And it was a passage that read, I created that. Congratulations to myself, kind of patting myself on the back. You know what? Give yourself a pat on the back. You created that. And now you can move forward and create something else. So if we can accept responsibility for everything that is happening in our lives and say, oh, I created that. And now the next step forward, what do I want to create? Where do I go from here? Rather than staying in that which I've created, if it creates, if it brings up a lot of emotional reactions, particularly if they're negative, it's easy to stay there. But if we can drop that and say, you know what, I created that, I'm going to let it go, I'm going to let it be, and now I'm going to move on to this, then by letting go of the emotion, then we're immediately in a whole new space. That whole new space, that kind of pregnant space where we can create something new for ourselves. And on that note, I'm going to come to Linda Drost, who's asking a question. Liz Dooley said, I messaged the prison. Are you looking to work with the prisons? That's fantastic work. Marcella, hi. Hello, thanks for joining. It's so late over there. It must be like 11:42, almost midnight. Thank you so much for joining at this late hour. I'm so grateful that I moved the time. I thought, it's going to be a little earlier and some people won't be able to make it who could make it at 8. But I'm really glad that some of our European friends can join, and also it's still a good time for Australia, and all my friends and family there can join. So it's just a better time all round. Wonderful. Really good for my family too, where they don't have to be out so late. So Linda Drost, I'm going to come up to your question. Let us know, Liz, what the prison is all about. Are you going to be working with the prisons and the prisoners? I think that's fantastic work. Linda, I'm going to find Linda's question. Linda Drost, Linda. So Lorelei, thank you so much. So Lorelei's going to get a reading. I'm going to write everyone's name down now so I don't lose my track. If you don't mind, I'll very quickly do this. So we did Jenny and we did Liz. And now I'm going to do Linda. Linda, I need to find your question again, sweetheart. I'm so sorry. I've literally just lost it. Oh, there she is. Can you pull a card for me for what I need to hear most? Just sent money via PayPal. Wonderful. Taking this ring off. It's getting in the way. Linda and Lorelei. Thank you, Lorelei. That's wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for donating. So you know that 30% of the $10 you donate goes to Mamas for Africa. And if you want to find out anything about them, I would get to their website, www.mamasforafrica.de. And it's in Deutsch or French. And if you click Deutsch, then you can get it translated in English. Actually, from both pages, you can get it translated into English. And they tell you all about the work that they're doing for the women of East Congo. And they're basically helping them. Any women who have experienced any kind of sexual violence are pretty much looked after by this group. And I'll hopefully be contacting somebody to talk to them so that we get a little bit more detail and maybe have a bit more of a sort of intimate understanding of what they do. Because sometimes a website can tell you a little bit, but if you talk to a human being, they can tell you more. Deb paid for her daughter, Emma. Thank you so much. So I'll do one for Emma. Wonderful. Deb, thank you, Lorelei. So Linda Drost has got here, message I need to hear most. Here we go. Thank you to everybody donating. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for the exchange. Thank you for creating this energy flow to people who need it. Energy you need to hear most. So this is Linda. I'm also going to tap into spirit. Sometimes when I close my eyes at the beginning of a reading, so if you're having a one-on-one reading with me, I'll open the space, I'll set the intention, and then I'll close my eyes with you present and have a look at how you're communing with spirit. So I'll just do that now. Linda Drost. Spirit, you and spirit are communing beautifully. So I'm usually shown how someone sits at the motherboard and how spirit kind of speaks, you know, to them from the heavens. And you have a very direct connection with your angels. And I do see you talking with them. And I believe that this really helps you a lot. If you don't know it consciously, I need you to become conscious of it, because there was an open door and there were angels standing right there talking directly to you, and you were talking to them. So let's have a look to see if this card translates. This looks like travel. Are you thinking about traveling somewhere? I know at the moment, most of Europe has kind of shut off from travel from America without the difficulty of having to quarantine, etc. But I think even some countries have stopped allowing people to come from the States altogether. But this card tells me you're looking toward the future. This is generally in, you know, if there are a few cards that are sort of pathognomonic of, you know, certain things, like the Seven of Swords being one of, you know, infidelity, or the Four of Wands being the marriage card. And this card is this card of travel, because you can see in the distance there are three boats and they're all traveling, and he's at the top of a cliff, clearly at the ocean side, ready to take travel himself. And you can see that he's ready because he's got his, you know, special garments on, his cloak. And so, Linda, please tell us, I'm thinking of traveling when the borders open. Yeah. You know, I do see you not only, I mean, I think you're even closer than you think to doing this travel. I'm not sure if you've bought the ticket yet, but it looks like it's pretty much, and there, do you see the wands, how they've got little growth on them? For some reason, I'm attracted to that. I do believe that this is something that's budding. And I think that it's going to be really, let me pick another card before I move on and say, here's the Queen of Cups. So it's a very emotional decision for you. Can I just get the Queen? Let me see, Jennifer's daughter, actually Kimberly. Jennifer, a friend of mine, told me I needed to treat the camera a little bit like this. So here we go. Look at this wonderful character here, this little cup. See this cup here, and it looks a little odd, but there are angels on it. And I think your communion with your angels and your guidance are leading you in the right way. And you don't need to worry. If there's any concern in your mind, please don't entertain it. I think that at this point, with your level of spiritual guidance and your level of spiritual understanding and your sort of application of all the teachings, that you can allow yourself to experience, to go off and do the travel that you want to do, and just know that you're protected, know that you're trusting in spirit, and that your trust is good and valid, and that you can't do anything wrong. You know, I feel like, look at the angel. There's a little angel under his seat that's just waving at you, going, hey, I'm here. I'm guiding you. Don't worry. It's all going to be okay. And I even wonder if you'll spend time at the beach. I'm not sure if you're going to have any kind of beach contact wherever you go or wherever you're planning on going. But those pebbles at the bottom are also calling to me as I look at them. Linda. Hi, Lisa. Welcome. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I probably, I don't have any time for any more questions because I've got at 7 o'clock. I want to start teaching the full. If we get time, I'll let you know at the end. The angel under the seat. Do you like that? Linda says she's laughing at the angel under the seat, but it's there. It's there. Can't be denied. There's the little angel waving at you and saying, I'm here. I'm always here for you. You can lean on me. You can sit on me. You can depend on me. Right? Your guidance is very strong. And actually, Linda Dross does angel readings for people, and they're very powerful. Thanks, Georgia. Wonderful. So let's move on to Lorelei. Lorelei, you had a question. You had a specific question, wondering if now's a good time to put myself out there online with the healing work. I'm going to say yes, because inside there's a big yes. Let's have a look at what the tarot says. And sometimes the yes that I feel inside is echoed by the tarot. And other times we're surprised by a message. So let's have a look. Is now the right time for you to put yourself out online with your healing work? Let's look. This is interesting. So this is a no. And I wonder why we need to dissect why we're getting this kind of 10 cards no. Something has finished for you, or it does something have to finish for you. So my question to you would be, what is preventing you from putting yourself out there online? Because for me to feel yes and then to get this card tells me that there's something that is, there's something that has to die first. So is it, how do you feel about, putting yourself out there? And I know because I felt and I still feel these same feelings. I have to just squash them down before I come out online. But this idea of, I'm going to say something silly, or I can't depend on spirit to come through, or what I'm saying is, not going to be received in a particular way. There are all these, thoughts that come and visit to us. And I really feel like this is what this card is talking about, Lorelei. There are some thoughts that would be really good for you to put to rest. Absolutely put to rest. And all of these are the self-doubting thoughts, the ones that I'm not good enough, not going to do a good job, can't do it as good as anyone else, can't do it as, And so suddenly, there's a whole list of them. If you could write them down and shoot them down one by one, that would be very, very good for you. And I'm going to pull a card for if Lorelei was to completely decimate all of those thoughts that are self-negating, right? How would that sit with her wanting to put herself out online? Here we go. You would feel like you've been beaten up. Okay, so how do we make sense of this? Why would you feel that? Why are we? So then we need to dig a little deeper. We need to go under the surface. Why would it feel hard? Why would it feel difficult to get rid of all of these thoughts? Well, sometimes we've been holding on to them for so long, right? Sometimes we've become so used to wearing a kind of belief about ourselves that we don't even know we have it. And so this guy feels like he's been through the wars. I mean, look at him. He's got a bandage on his head, and his shoulders got a bandage too. And so let's see if we can go to the next steps. Let's see. I want to also see if Lorelei is saying anything, because self-defeating thoughts, yes. So, and you're not alone, Lorelei. All of us have them. And it's really about finding the passion within what it is that you're doing that can override all of that. So that's what works for me. I have a passion for reading the tarot and reading with people and teaching them how to read for themselves. And so there is exactly that same thing in you with the things that you love to do. And I see that with the yoga that you're doing and the way that you've come straight into. You're a yoga master, you're a yogi. And I know that it's not just that you're talking about, your healing gifts and your, let me come back to you, the things that you want to offer online. It's not just the yoga, it's also all of the healing modalities that you're versed in. So let's have a look. I'm now going to pull another card to get some more information on these two, right? So what we've done is we've established that there are thoughts that are self-defeating and that you feel like you've been through the wars. And if you were to sort of go through that again, you know, maybe if you were to try to knock them all down, you'd feel like you were just going through it. And sometimes we re-traumatize ourselves, don't we, by going through and thinking about the past and what it was like. Abraham Hicks is a consciousness that comes through a woman named Esther Hicks. So Abraham is a collection of consciousnesses that comes through a woman named Esther Hicks. And Abraham says, you don't even need to go there. You don't need to visit the past, because if you're visiting the past and looking at anything that's low vibration, then you're inviting that low vibration into you. Now, if I can just detour here for a while, that if you're looking into the past to temporarily uplift it, then the vibration changes, doesn't it? If you're allowing the past to have its say and then that dissipates into a raised vibration, then that helps too, doesn't it? And so therefore, if our aim is to raise our vibration, whichever way we go there is perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay. We don't always have to reach for that positive thought when we're feeling so terrible. We can allow this to be here without fighting it. And so there's something in that for you in terms of allowing. Just allowing whatever you're feeling about your, you know, the past, whatever you're feeling about going online and, you know, the fears that are around that, to just be, all right? And so we're not looking at fighting them. We're not looking at getting rid of them, which is what I felt we were talking about here before. And I was saying, hey, this card is encouraging you to get rid of all these thoughts. Well, maybe just allowing them to die, you know, to die alone by not giving them any attention is another way. Right? Yeah, I know you exist, but I'm going to go off and do this too. So it's where you bring your attention. And Abraham Hicks is powerful in being able to steer you toward those thoughts that are exciting, that are help you feel passionate and joyful. And so then you use that to milk yourself moving forward to raise your vibration. And sometimes that feels really good. And if it doesn't feel good, you don't do it. So you only do it if it feels good, right? One more card for Lorelei. Here we go. So do it with the help of others. Do it in a group. And so here I would say, you could easily, and this is related to you putting yourself out online. And we're also going to look at timing very quickly before we start looking at Deb's Emma. So I would actually get a group or a group together or a satsang, and I would put some sort of positive thought processes into action. Look at engaging in either readings with each other or looking up books. It's like a satsang, basically. So you're getting together and you're motivating each other by looking up any of the teachings in any of the, the Bibles and any of the books in the Vedas, in the, I haven't read the Vedas. I can only tell you I've just started reading the Dhammapada, and I've just bought Jack Hawley's walk through the Bhagavad Gita for Westerners. And so they're the two texts that I'm reading, Bhagavad Gita and the Dhammapada. And I can honestly say that even a few pages of those can produce 1 or 2 hours length of conversation. So I feel like what you're doing here is you're creating a satsang to engage in conversation, to help each other lift your vibration. And that's going to happen locally where you are, around your home or in your city. And you're going to find like-minded people, and you're going to do this together. And in that once that vibration rate rises for you, we can say, we found it, Lorelei. This is it. We wanted this. We wanted it earlier, but we had to find the right path. And the way was to do it with others. Sometimes we can't do it by ourselves. Sometimes we need help. It's okay. But that puts you on the right path. right? And I think, we can each do work on our own meditation, our own concentration, our own focusing on what it is that we want. But then we also need to come together sometimes and work as a group with group energy. And there you go. I hope that makes sense. But I'm really grateful that we finally saw, yes, this is the right path, because that's the card that's a validation for me. Whenever I see an ace, it's a yes. Whenever I see ace, it's an opportunity. The ace is the new gateway, the door opening. This is the door to walk through, right? So, Deb, ask your question for Emma, and then we're going to jump into learning all about the Fool. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, everybody who's sending in their $10, and we're donating 30% of that to Mamas for Africa. Thank you so much. Lisa says, are you still taking questions? Yes. So I might do. Let's see how long it takes me to talk about the Fool. I assume you want to answer people first. They paid you. Let me know for the future. You've been so generous. I love how spontaneous you are. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thanks for coming. There's also the idea of grace under pressure. That's something that I would love to sort of pick apart with the group. What does that mean? What does that mean? How do we, when we're facing our karma, and we're really feeling like we're under pressure, is that grace under pressure? Are we just doing our best in every single moment? I think we're always just doing our best in every moment. When we're being as conscious as we possibly can. I just love those words, grace under pressure. Random card for Emma. Okay, Emma, random card. Congratulations on your graduation during the COVID pandemic of the world. You did it. I think every child, every adult, young adult that was graduating at this time in the world is a hero. Didn't get to celebrate in their way. I've really felt for all the teenagers and the young people that haven't been able to get out and do all their partying and celebrating. I mean, I'm sure you've found other ways to do it. So, Emma, here we go. One for you. Oh, something big change, transformation is coming into your life. So when the death card visits, there's the opportunity to let go of things that no longer serve you and to allow the new to come. So when we let go, we create a vacuum for the new. Does that make sense? We were literally just talking about opening doors. And when we see the ace, then that's the validation of, yes, this is exactly what, well, you might be at that stage where things have kind of ended. Right? Maybe, obviously I literally just spoke about your graduation because I know that about you, but there may be other things where there've been some, where things have kind of come and there are loose ends and the path hasn't become quite clear. But I really feel that this card is letting you know that everything will fall away naturally and easily and effortlessly, and that the new world is on the horizon. So I'm just going to see if I can get this into view because this death card has a lot of detail. There it is. So number one, the skeleton in the night outfit is sitting on a pink, sitting on a white horse that has a pink horse, saddle. So we know that this guy is not a hardcore. We know that there's a wonderful heart energy, and the spirit color of the white horse tells us that this is spirit walking through your life and breathing life to that which needs to continue and just taking away the life from things that don't need to. So if people, if there are certain friends that are falling away from you, don't worry about it. They're falling away because they have to. Your vibration has changed, and therefore it's a natural progression in life for there to be change. This is the card of change. This is the card of transformation. This is the card of the yagna that happens every 12 months at the Creek and Wellness Retreat, and where we all throw everything that we no longer want to have to deal with in that fire. Or even when you build a bonfire on the beach, and you create a ritual out of throwing things into the fire. Well, this is the one. You can see the sun is the fire, and the death riding in on the horse. Well, that's the fire too. Yeah. And I think if you remember, or we were reading this card last week and we read it very differently. And so you see, when you choose a card, the same card for a different person, the vibration changes because we're tapping into the person's vibration that we're reading it for. So I'm going to pick one more card with the death card, and so that we can talk about how death communicates, what's changing. Yeah, here we go. So look what's going, look what's leaving. And it could be an internal thing. So, the way that you used to think, all these worries that you used to have, these are changing, these are dropping away. That's what's actually changing for you. So it may not be that people are leaving. It could be that you're changing the way that you're being. There's a certain level of maturity that's coming into your life. You're moving into a new age of maturity. You're going up a level. And, this influence will be there into the fall. You'll experience it quite deeply in December even. So I have here, I'm not sure if you're in a relationship or about to have a relationship, but this looks like there's a new offering, friends coming in for you. And I think that was around December that I felt the energy of that. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that's hopeful and enlightening. The random card for Emma. Here we go. So Liz Dooley says, I love when you put up those posts of Abraham, Georgia. Oh, me too. And, I haven't been posting as many of them as previously, but when I find one that just like nails it, it's like, you don't need to worry about that. Don't even think about it. Go here. And it just always helps. I find the memes through a lot of the spiritual posts. It's why I keep reposting them. They're so uplifting and they really speak so loudly to me in the moment that I see them that I have to share them. And I wish that I could imprint them on my soul. And when I go searching for them, later, because it's like, oh, I remember that post that I shared and I wished I remembered it right now. It's like, I almost wish I had a printout of every post that I've ever posted that was inspiring because I can use them in the future. I don't know. Has anybody done that? Has anyone sort of printed their Facebook posts? Let me know. I'd love to know if anyone's done it. So Jennifer Anderson says, and I'd also recommend starting small, baby steps. Was that with the angel under the seat, Jennifer? Or with Lorelei, offering my full spiritual wisdom? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So Lorelei, yes, offering your full spiritual wisdom is the way to go, because how can you not? How can you only offer a little? Thank you, everybody. Thank you all who are here and who are. So we're going to find the Fool again. So here we go. This is the deck. We've now come to the section where we're looking at the Fool card. This is the card of the week. I hope you're all hanging in there. I've forgotten to tell you all that I'm going to be giving away a 30-minute reading, a free 30-minute reading at the end of the show. This is the Tarot Coloring In book, which is by Theresa Reed. I've recommended this as one of the texts. It's actually a massive coloring in book, but it allows you to commune with the cards in a way that's very intimate and through color. And so you get to go into that space when you're coloring in, which is kind of half dreamlike, half imaginative, half meditative. You're just in a space of, it's almost like when you were a child, and just being in the moment. That was for Lorelei, says Jennifer. So Jennifer says you can print, you can download, but you can't print. So you can download. I suppose once you download it, you can somehow, I wonder if you could print from that. But yes, so you can download your whole Facebook posts. I wonder if you get all the pictures and things. Like sit and write one thing, or sit and work through one issue. That was for Lorelei. Thank you for clarifying that, Jennifer. Okay, everybody, here we go. We're gonna talk about the Fool. And here is the Fool. Let's find him. I have the Fool on the outside. Has everybody got their cards? And if you do, and if you don't, it's okay. We're going to learn all about the Major Arcana. So the Major Arcana are the 22 cards in the tarot deck that have the archetypes that are like the High Priestess, and they have the number on the top. All the numbers are in Roman numerals, and you have to look up the Roman numerals if you've forgotten them, like me, for the purposes of learning them when I had to. Let's see if I can find the Fool. He's hiding. Okay, so he's here. So this is the Fool, right? And the Fool is a figure who is about to step over the edge of a cliff. There is a beautiful yellow sky with a white sun. and he's carrying a white flower. There's a little white dog at the bottom, and there's these beautiful high mountains, which are like the Himalayas, and he's looking upwards with his arms open. And the thing about him, because I have him right here, so you see the Fool, right? And he is the number 0. So he's given the number 0 very specifically for a very good reason, because he's the 0 point. He's before, he represents where creation arises from. He represents God or God consciousness, 0 point. That's the point before everything expands into beingness. Right before everything is created into the 3 dimension, this is the starting point, the point from which everything arises that we see. And so the white sun represents spirit, and he's wearing a white inner shirt that represents spirit. His white rose represents his purity and his connection to spirit, and his white dog is his guide. Why is the guide? So the dog is barking at him, telling him, hey, you're about to go off the cliff. But what is the Fool doing? The Fool is actually completely and utterly in divine communion with the God consciousness, and is full in faith, trust in trust, about to walk off the cliff and not caring at all, because God has him, right? So God has, we assume it's a him, but it could be a her, but God has this person. So this person has faith that if they walk off the cliff, then they will be held, that whatever happens is what is meant to be happening, because God says this is it. So the next step that I take is the step that I'm taking with the trust, full trust and faith in God. And you see he's traveling very light. So he looks like a traveler. He's got a stick, and on his stick he has a bag. And this bag has a rose on it too. So he's a passionate guy. Is that a rose or a little bird? Right? And the feather is the feather of Mart. So there's so much in this beautiful summary. You actually get a few. So this book, if I can just talk about it, this book talks about reversals. Now, when I teach the tarot, I don't teach the reversals. So my teacher, Josephine Farrell, Josephine Faz on Facebook, she taught me back in 2003 to read the tarot without needing to read the reversals. And the reason that I have continued with that is simply because when I read a picture, there's actually enough in the picture, both negative and positive, to read for the person. And so you can often find the black and the white, the duality in each picture, that you don't need to read it upside down. Now, some people read them upside down, and it's perfectly valid and okay. It's whatever system that you have learnt and gotten used to. So let's go back to the Fool, as we were looking at the Fool. So all of the symbols, so we have the colors. The yellow is the color of the divine masculine. That's a masculine energy, but it's also the symbol of energy, right? And you have the Himalayas in the background, which indicate that at some point, so this, because he's up as high as the level of the Himalayas, it means that he's imbued with all of the very high teachings, meaning that the high teachings this is their starting point. They all start from this. And when we meditate with the goal of sitting in 0 point, at the 0 point, coming into communion with source. This is the card. This is the source card. This is source. This is, if we can say that, spirit. This is the spirit part of spirit in a human body. And I've got a book that's coming up where I'll be I had an online course a couple of years ago that I designed, and I'll be putting it all into this book called Spirit on a Journey Arcana. And so spirit, once it goes into a body, and it doesn't do that until it gets to the Empress, remember, because this is 0, we get 1 and 2, which are the cards following. That's the Magician and the High Priestess. The Magician and the High Priestess are the ones that are sort of responsible for manipulating and using all of the spiritual laws through magic and understanding of all the laws in the universe. But this is the point from which they come. This is 0 point consciousness. And this is what we aim to do. And you can see very far below the ground. See how high the Fool is? Because right below is where all these, you see these mountains, and they're very common in all of the cards. You'll see them in various cards, these little mountains that look like tiny little peaks. I'll talk about those much later, but I often feel that these are the influence of Lord Shiva and Arunachala. There's a sacred mountain in India that is peaked up like that and holds the energy of Lord Shiva, the destroyer. So just coming back to this beautiful card. So we have that he's wearing a tunic, and in this on this tunic, he's got the pomegranates, which are, remember that beautiful veil that sits behind the high priestess? They're also here on him. And you can also see that there are these roses, or are they lilies? They look like a rose and a lily combined, but he's definitely holding the rose of purity, and that's where his passion lies. His passion lies in being pure, and this is pure consciousness. And I'm thinking of you, Jennifer, because this is the work that you're bringing forth, and you're bringing consciousness to everything that you do. And this is the card that you want to use when you want to imbue everything that you do with the consciousness of spirit. So if you're finding it difficult to trust, and you're having difficulty with, with whatever's happening in your life, and this is the card to put up when you're meant to just let go of needing to understand anything, and just trusting that everything is happening as it should, because you are spirit in a body. You are the channel through which this energy flows through. This is spirit. This is source. Source flows through you. You're the tube. We are the tube. And if we can make that tube thin enough, or when we get loud, our tube gets very thick and closes up the amount of source that can flow through it. But if we can make that tube sort of thin enough but wide enough to allow a lot through, then we can be of service. And when we're in service in that way, simply because we are not, but source is, then we get to feel that gratitude and that bliss and that sense of oneness and absolute perfection of everything as it is, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. And that's the gift. That's the gift of life. That's also the gift of the Fool. So yay! We talked about the Fool. Is there any questions about the Fool? So Deb Ward is giving us some feedback about the cards we read for Emma. Emma says, thank you for her reading. She's extremely grateful. We'll watch when she's off the beach. Lucky girl. I want to be on the beach with you, Emma. Mum says, thank you too. You were spot on. She really needed to hear this from someone besides her mother. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Thanks so much, Deb. Jennifer Anderson's bought this book, I know, and she says it's awesome. Yeah, the sections are great and easy, and definitely the other two books that I recommend are Bibles, absolute Bibles. You kind of need to read them a little bit at a time, or sort of say, well, today I'm going to study the Fool. So those two are Rachel Pollack, 78 Degrees of Wisdom, which has been around since the 70s. She's amazing. And Holistic Tarot, which is kind of a new, tarot guru, Benebell Wen, who's been around since the 2000s, I think. But she's extremely thorough. She's a lawyer, and she's just done an extremely thorough look at all of the history of the tarot and each card and all the spreads. And I really respect the amount of work that she's done and put into her. So is there anything that I haven't missed? Oh, yes. So the boots. So you like that he has boots on? These boots were made for walking. And you know that song, these boots were made for walking, and that's what we're going to do. One of these days, these boots are going to walk all over you. I'm not sure what that song meant, but we have a very special guest here right now. This is Leela. I hope you can hear her. She is an absolutely pure, gorgeous being that brings much joy and love into our life. So I know, Lorelei, you love cats. Here is the Leela. Here, Leela, do you want to look up at the camera? No? Maybe. She just wants to. I'm going to put you down, baby. She's purring. Beautiful girl. Thank you so much, Leela. I don't know if Lisa's here, but we could probably take. Is there anyone who has another question? Actually, just before we do that, how would you use the Fool? How would you interpret the Fool? So sometimes you interpret the Fool as that which we just talked about, as the 0 point, as coming back to zero, as a new beginning, as opening up one's hands and trust and facing oneself up to, we always think that God is up there, but actually God is here and everywhere. But this idea of opening up to all that is happening, right? All of it, all of it, all of it, even the horrible dark stuff, right? The dark night of the soul stuff. We're meant to be doing this. And wasn't it Jesus that was spread open like this, right? The vertical and the horizontal were coming together at the 0 point, which is the heart. And so we always need to remember that there's reasons why we crucify ourselves. We don't need to go to those extremes, but we do because we want to come back into balance. And that's what the Fool is doing. The Fool is opening up his hands and his arms and saying, yes, I'm open to all of it, everything. Even if the next step that I take is death, then I'm open to that too. And I trust that I will always be held by that which is. Right? It's such a powerful card, such an incredibly powerful card. If you're feeling ill, if you're, experiencing, deep distress, the Fool comes in to say, all is well, all is well. Whenever you speak to your heart or, conversations with God, doesn't your heart always say everything's going to turn out all right? That's the energy of the universe. That's the energy of God consciousness. And that's the energy of the Fool. The Fool is here to say everything's going to be all right. Just trust. Just trust. Trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in God. Trust in what you're seeing and what you're experiencing. You don't have to believe it. You just have to trust that it's come here and it's visiting. And as with everything, it's impermanent. But the trust is the bit that's touching and connecting with that which is permanent, right? That 0 point God consciousness is permanent. So if we were to, I often do this practice with my students where we take the Fool card and we say, okay, well, what if in a reading you got the Fool and, I don't know, this card, which is the Knight of Wands. And so you would say to yourself, well, maybe I'm going to meet, maybe this is a person. So we'll talk about this in the future, but the knights, the queens, the pages, and the kings are usually people that you meet in life, people that you may know. Linda says, hi, Leela. Hi. Hi, Nomad. Nice to meet you. Welcome. We're talking about the Fool. And if you have your own tarot deck, please pull out your tarot deck and have a look at the Fool. But at the moment, we're combining the tarot and the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands can represent a person. So if I was to see these two in together, I would say, well, this person who's coming into your life, who looks like he's going to come in and, he or she will come into your life and kind of have a very sort of a very real presence, quite a passionate person. Just trust that everything is all right when this person comes through. You can trust that it's going to be, they themselves may not be trustworthy, or they might be trustworthy. So depending on what it is that you're picking up. So for me, when I do card combinations, I can't just do them out of the air. It's much easier to read when you're reading for someone, because you're tapping into their consciousness and what it is that they're creating. You're tapping into the energy, the vibration that they're sending. And that's how you're reading the cards, because you become the channel, you become the receiver of the information that is energy, and you're receiving through all of your inner senses as well as your outer senses, because you're using them to interpret all the color. So what we do when we're learning to read the tarot, is we use our physical eyes to look at the cards, We tap into our brain with the physical understanding of the colors and the actions and the figures. And then at the same time, we're tuning in to our inner senses of what we're feeling and what we're picking up on an intuitive level, whether we're doing it through our sight, inner seeing, or our inner hearing, or our inner feeling, or our inner knowing, or our inner smell or taste, right? Sometimes we get like weird smells coming up. But once we're also, so at the same time that we're looking through the physical senses, we're also looking through our inner senses. And when we're looking through, we're receiving information both from the out and the in, and then we're joining them together to make the message, and we're making it relevant to the question that's being asked. And once you practice that over and over again, it becomes very simple. And that's how the reading happens. There's nothing magical about it, really. It's just the inner and the outer senses, and you being that receiver of both of them and having trust in your capacity to receive that information. Everybody here can do this. Everybody, including Nomad. And we've not met before, Nomad, but it's a beautiful name. And I would say that you could read the cards. And look at this zero. Doesn't this sun look like a big zero, right? That's how the Fool sort of sits with me. You know, the zero means everything, the 0 point. So let's pick another card, right? The Fool and the 8 of Cups. So, you know, the Fool, here is this person walking away from all of this emotion, because the cups signify emotion. And so when you're walking away from an old way of being, you're walking away from dealing with things in the same way that you used to. Well, that's you coming into a new way of being. This will signify a new beginning for you. Match together. So if these two cards came up together, I would say, hey, you've got a whole new beginning coming, because you're leaving all of this behind and you're coming into a new way of being. And just trust that you have to leave that behind. We have difficulty letting go, right? We're circling all the way back to July 4th and independence, right? And freedom from attachment, which is what Deb Ward was saying about Independence Day. And can we celebrate, you know, the freedom of letting go, or the death card that we read about tonight, where we're looking at death as a way of letting go of the things that no longer serve us. Well, that's what this would be. Yeah, these two cards would read that way. What if we had the Fool and the Hanged Man? Here we are. They're two archetypes now. Again, the Hanged Man is letting go, isn't he? The hangman is upside down. He's not holding on to anything. In fact, he's only being held on by 1 foot. How is that possible? How is this person not falling to the ground? But he's being held because he's being held in suspension. It's a very temporary suspension. This person was thinking too much, needed to be turned upside down. And that means that we need this influence and this influence together say there needed to be great let go and trust in what's happening. Because before this card turned up, there was a lot of holding on and grasping, right? And now we're letting go, and now we're surrendering to spirit, right? And so you see, once you start putting 2 or 3 cards together, you can start to draw all the things that are similar about them to tell the story. But it's always best when there's someone in front of you. And if you're reading for yourself, if you can quieten yourself down, this is one of these tarot tips that I'm hoping to put in my emails. Oh, while I'm here, I wanted to ask everyone, if you want to get on my email list, my contact form is working again. And so I'm just going to send you the link right now, because I'd really love for people to get themselves on my email list if they want to, because I'll be sending out tarot tips. I'm hoping to be able to email a little bit more regularly, maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. Here we come back to our live. So this is the way, if you sign on this contact form, if you put your name, your first name and your second name, and then you're already clicked yes, and you don't have to write a message, you just click send, well, that adds you immediately to my mailing list. And then you'll be able to get these tarot tips that I'm talking about. In fact, I think I was about to say one, but I've forgotten what it was, because I'm thinking of the next thing. I wanted to give away a 30-minute reading with me. So we've come to the end. Thank you, everybody that's hung in there. There's 9 people here. I want you to think of a number between 1 and 20. And there's a consolation prize for the person that comes as close as possible to the number that I'm thinking. But I've got the number in my head right now. I want you to write in the comments a number between 1 and 20. And I'm going to tell you what it is that, and the person that gets the number either spot on or very close to, and will get a 30-minute reading from me. Wonderful. Here they come. Yay. Someone's going to win a free 30-minute reading. I love readings. I love them. I do them often, and I do them anywhere I can, and I squeeze them into all the empty spots in my day. Please put in a number. And once I see that as many people have gone in, I think there are 9 people on here, but if you can put in, and if, that's okay. If someone has already got something chosen, then 2 people can win. It's all right. It's all good. There's plenty of 30-minute spots in my life where I can do a reading. I'm making some room for Lita to come on. I think, was it Lorelei and Deb, you were thinking of having a little someone come into your life? Maybe you can come and look after Leela for a little. All right. Hello. I know. Yes, Isa and Sandro and Theo and Daddy are coming home soon. Okay, so everybody's put down. The number was 15. So we've got 15. 15. Who's close? So we've got 2 people. So we've got Lorelei at 13, and then Jenny and Liz. Jennifer, thanks for such a wonderful night. Yes. I want you all to have a look at her. This very special being here. Wow. Getting a big cuddle. Oh, sweetheart. So actually, can we do another round? Because that means there's a few people. So can Liz, Jenny, and Lorelei, can you all guess another number between 1 and 10 for me? So I'm going to think of a number now between 1 and 10, and I want you all to, you 3, to put down. So choose a number between 1 and 10. I want someone to get it. Liz and Jenny and Lorelei. Think of a number between 1 and 10, and the one person who comes closest will get the reading. Oh, Leela. Oh, there we go. So Jenny, you came closest. It's a 6. My number was a 5. You came the closest. So Jenny's won the 30-minute reading. Yay! Woo! Congratulations, Jenny. I'll contact you for the reading, and we'll make that happen sometime this week. And thank you, everybody, for joining in. Thank you, everybody, for sending in your money. And I'll let you all know how much we raised for Mamas for Africa. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for supporting me here and coming onto the live show and participating. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Leela. Thanks, Jenny, Lorelei, Liz. Yay, Linda. Thank you. And I'll see you all next week. Terribly excited. Next week, we'll be studying The Magician, Manifestation. Wonderful. Have a great night, everybody. Have a great 4th of July weekend. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye.